Justinian and Theodora, with their divide and conquer political games, their conspiracies and corruption, their secret underground dungeons in which they covertly disposed of their foes, not only sought to blot out the royal line of the Goths and remove them from power by any means necessary, but just as eagerly sought to erase them from history, a pattern we seem to see carried on up to the present day. But, as if by divine providence, despite their best efforts, some traces still remain.
But the biggest secret of these early Dark Ages lies with a people who didn't destroy a city and who weren't nomadic warriors. A people who conquered and then settled. They lived just like the Romans and left behind a glorious legacy, one which remained deliberately hidden for nearly 1,500 years. Here in Ravenna, the Goths took over the last capital of the Western Roman Empire. For 33 years under their king, Theodoric, it was the equal of any Roman capital. Theodoric renovated and reformed its institutions, improved and enhanced its splendor, and in a few short years created one of the wonders of the age. This would have been like walking through heaven's gates. If this had been an age of darkness, then here, without doubt, was a cathedral of light. This is Santa Pollinare Nuovo, built by Theodoric nearly 1,500 years ago, one of the brightest jewels of the Dark Ages.
I'd like you to look at the mosaics from this position. You can see that the background is shining, is reflecting the light from the windows because it was made of glass cubes and gold cubes, and the robes of the saints are dull, are opaque, because they were made using marble cubes, so as to give the impression of wool, of textiles.
These works were commissioned by Theodoric, the Gothic king. Yet most visitors today think they are Roman or Byzantine mosaics. Why should that be? Is it because we have all been conditioned to assume that work of this quality must be Roman? Perhaps there are other reasons. As I looked more closely, I began to wonder, why are there so many mosaic curtains in a scene of such splendor? And what do these hands, unattached to any bodies, signify? In Santa Pollinare, I wanted to see whether the mystery of the curtains was any clearer. I realize now that they reflect so much work that they must have had a very deliberate purpose. What were they supposed to represent?
This part of the mosaic that shows you the royal palace, all this mosaic was made and commissioned by Theodoric. This mosaic has been changed, altered. We could say that it has been vandalized by the Byzantines because some images have been destroyed. Those images that had portrayed Theodoric, members of his court, members of his clergy, and that stood between the columns, now they have been replaced with curtains. But you can still see the hands here. There is one hand here, another one here, another one here, and another hand here, and another hand here. And you can still see the halos here of the heads that have disappeared. All these elements tell us that previous images have been destroyed. It was an act of censorship, we could say.
echoes from the past, reminders of what once was, and perhaps